Welcome to help in making use of Vectric's 3D Clipart in free projects. As you can see, I'm here at the Vectric website right here, and the first place you want to take a look at is the Vectric community right here, free projects. I think we all like free, and one thing about when you're getting started with VCarve Pro or Aspire, it's always good to play around with possibly some ready-made projects and some different tips and tricks that are being used with these projects. So each one of these you have, by clicking on, you've got a wide variety of different projects, which they'll tell you what what software they'll run in, Aspire, VCarve, and VCarve Desktop. Some will only run in Aspire. Here's your tips and tricks if you want to learn, for example, VCarve Inlay, which is a fantastic technique, or making a guitar neck. Here's some examples that will lead you through the entire process. Notice this is only going to be for Aspire. So here we have a wide variety of different free projects, and you will have to register to be able to get these, but it's not a problem. The other area we'll go to is get back to the home page, and we'll see over here where it says products, and we'll go down here where it says Clipart, and it's going to take us to the Design Make, which is totally owned and operated by our friends at Vectric. And one thing for you Aspire users and also for VCarve Pro is when you're first starting with dealing with 3D images and 3D Clipart, it's a lot of times better to use existing models and start modifying them and learning the techniques before you go around and try to make a completely individual model on your own, especially if you have Aspire. In the earlier versions of VCarve Pro, you did not have these capabilities that you have starting with version 8 and above, and they just keep getting better. First, we're going to scroll down to the bottom right here where we want to visit the Design Make store, and here we see a lot of different options. The first options are individual 3D Clipart. If you click on them, there's three styles: the regular, which is raised, dish style, and then the recessed or the hand carved style. And these you'll find in your Clipart and both VCarve Pro and Aspire. When you're looking at, they have individual models that you can use, and a lot of them they have all three styles. And these are good if you're looking for a specific type of 3D Clipart. They also have collections as well, and we'll take a look at those in just a minute. And then they have projects. Now collections, for example, I've opened a collection right here, Dogs of the World. And here we have 28 individual models, 3 pre-assembled layouts, plus 3 project sheets. And if you look at these, it gives you all different types of options. So if you're in an area where you've got a lot of people that are dog lovers, that is absolutely what you'd like to have. So here are just some of the few possibilities, and for $99 it's an absolute bargain. You're not going to be able to try to design these yourself and even come close to making any money if you're trying to do it. But this gives you a leg up in a way to get started. Let's go back to our Design Make store, go up into search all products, and if your school district, because all transactions with this has to be done on the credit card, so if you're at a school district or a place where it's difficult to make those, sometimes it's best if you can find something for free. So I'm going to type in free, and if you notice here we have 3 projects that will be free for you. But the first thing you have to do is you have to go and start your own account, which I have done, but I'm going to show you how to sign up. Very simple. Ask for some information, create a password, answer a few questions, and tell them you're not a robot, and then go ahead and sign up. Even though you haven't bought anything from the store, you'll still be able to download these four projects. Now, if you click on I Love You here, the Heart and Ribbon #1 project set, this is the first one you want to take a look at. Let's get started. It gives you some examples what you can do, and best of all, it has a great getting started guide which shows you different techniques in creating some of these projects. There's one right there. Get back in here to there, and there's your project sheet as well. So I recommend watching this if you can, and actually downloading that project and creating some things using that. But we're going to get back in here to the search tool. And for many teachers, especially if you work with high school students, especially if you're in the state of Texas, football is king. And one great project ideas can be found here in the Pickup League Football. Notice it's only $35, and sometimes as a teacher, I taught construction technology for 27 years. Sometimes you just have to dig into your own pocket and handle that yourself if you can't get your school to buy it for you. So here we have a sample, and this is already with this projects, you get a pre-assembled sample just like this, and then you have all these individual models as well. And then you can create some other things such as this right here. But we are going to be creating some things using this pre-assembled layout. Now, we can import that as a pre-assembled layout. It's fine to that, but I'm going to show you how you go step by step and create your own. So that being said, we're going to go down here and we're going to go to VCarve Pro, and once you've got that clip art, then you can go ahead and follow this. And the advantage of doing this project is every year students there'll be new students of the football team. And what parent would not want a cutting board designed and carved with their son's playing number, team name, and the logo? So we're going to start with a typical size of maybe a cutting board, 16 wide, 10 inches high, Z 0.75. We're going to do a single-sided. I'm in VCarve 9.5. Z to the material surface, and we're going to center in the middle. And if we're dealing with 3D models and projects, you want to go with the high resolution, modeling resolution. It's different than if you're going with strictly two-dimensional objects. So I'm going to click over OK right here. And then I'm going to click in my clip art, and I'm going to look up here into Design and Make. Once you've downloaded those free projects, or you downloaded, for example, Pickup Football like I have, you will have those different folders in your library, and it's just a matter of clicking here, and instead of bringing out the assembly right here, I'm just going to bring out and build this so you can see how it's done. In the tutorials that are coming up, you're going to actually be creating some more yourself. Now I can go here to drawing, and I can center it either this way, right here, or I could have pressed the F9 function key. Well, this will work pretty good what I have right here. Then I'm going to go back into clip art, and remember, I'm going to try to get this design. So I want the football jersey in the middle, so I can double click or I can drag, and I want to move that right in here. And we'll click on it twice and get those handles over here and make it just a little bit larger. I'm going to position this with my cursor right there for now. Maybe move it up a little bit higher because I can see that is filling this area more. So I'm going to click it right here, stretch out a little bit more. And then I'm going to go over here and I'm going to get my football. We have two ones, a football with a texture and a football smooth. I'm going to go with the smooth for this example. And I'm going to drag my football over here. Obviously it's going to be a little bit too large, so I'm going to have to scale it to size right here. So I'm going to move it down. And notice on this drawing right here, the football's facing this way, so I'm going to go over here to my handles and I'm just going to turn it, rotate it right here. Rotate it a little bit more. There we go. And let's see if I can stretch it out just a little bit. That looks pretty good. We'll get that stretched out there. And then I have my football helmet. I'm going to click on this, or I can drag it right here into position. And again, I'm going to adjust the height on this a little bit. See if I can get this in there and position it. Click it twice. We're going to drag it down a little bit right there. And again, you already have the combined model right here that you'll be able to bring in. But I just wanted to give you an example how this is used. I'm going to click this right here, and I'm actually even going to stretch out that jersey just a little bit this way. Okay, and that's looking pretty good. We'll see how that all works out. Okay, so now I'm going to go into my modeling, and notice as each one of these, I drug each one of these onto the background there. They are all on one level. This is which I want it to be. And I click here. This is going to tell me the shape, height, and the different combinations. And this right here is merge. What it means is every time I drag one of these out onto this plaque background, it merges in, they merge together. Now, here I'm not going to have any overlapping in some of the tutorials that you're going to be going through. You will be doing overlapping. You'll be learning some different techniques. This is just very simple, placing different 3D objects on a background. Now, I want some specific height, so I'm going to click over on my football helmet, and I've already played with this and gone off the existing model. And right here on the shape on this height on the helmet, I am going to go fairly deep on that. I want a shape height of 0.52, and if I hit the space bar, it will adjust that. And while I'm doing this, so I can see how that's going to look in the model, I'm just going to click right there. Better yet, I think that's going to look a little bit better there. So you can see how that model will affect the model. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the football, and we're going to adjust that shape height to 0.48. And hit your space bar there. And if you notice as I hover this, it will change. You can check to see down below there. That's the model height there. It'll tell me right there, 0.3 over here. And then I'm going to go on to my jersey, and the jersey right there is going to be 0.47. And then I'm going to go to my sports plaque, and on that I'm going to go to 0.54. Okay, notice it accomplished that. I'm going to go over here and go a bit of an angle here so you can see, and that's looking pretty good on that. Next thing I'm going to do is I want to close this, and I'm going to go into my drawing tab. You click right here. Anytime I click that, I moved it where I did not want it to, so I'm going to Control Z. Now what you can do right here to make sure that the things don't shift around, on the model you notice I've got these different items selected right here. And I'm going to go over here and same thing here. There we go. We see everything right there has been selected. I'm going to go over here, and what we can do is group that by just hitting the shortcut key G to group. So right there. So now when I click on that, everything is the same color, it means they're all grouped together. So if I move it one part around, everything moves together. Now getting back over here, there's some things we want to put. First of all, we're going to want to create a text box right here. My mistake right here. I'm going to create the box first. That would help, right? So I'm going to click here and I'm going to create a right there. And I'm going to want to place the text inside that box. And for the I'm going to put the student's name in here. I'm going to put Steinbach is the name. And for lettering, most high school, I should say most, but a lot of high school football lettering is done in yearbook. If you don't have yearbook as one of your fonts, if you do an internet search, you'll find it out on the internet and you can download it for free. So Steinbach, that looks pretty good there, but there is one problem. I click on Steinbach there, and those letterings are a little bit too close together. So I'm going to go into my tool called Edit Text Spacing and Curve, and holding the Shift key down, I'm going to click between these letters right here. As you can see, I'm getting a little bit of distance right there. What I want, a little bit more here, and here, and here, a little bit more right there. It's all going one way. So I'm going to hit my Escape key to get out of that. Click on my Steinbach again. With my Shift key down, I'm going to click on that border. And then I'm going to go over here where it says Center Object in the last selected object. I'm going to click there. Perfect. That's where I want that to be. Okay. Now, we'll click on this. And the name of the football team, I'm going to click, make another rectangle right over here. And I'm going to make this a little bit larger so I can see it. Close the other window. I'm going to press F to fit everything in there, and that's another text box I want. So I'm going to go over, having selected that, I'm going to draw text within those vectors right there. And the name of the team are the Eagles. And I'm going to click the center there to get it centered. And then I'm going to do the horizontal stretch, stretch spaces. That's going to get me what I want. So I'm going to go in here to Edit Text Spacing and Curves. Same thing, hold my Shift key down and get some space in there. Again, right over here, get some more right here, and get some more here. Eagles. Make sure anytime you're doing any lettering for any type of team, any type of plaque, you've got the correct spelling. Okay? And I think I've got it there. Eagles. That looks pretty good. I'm at the Escape key. That's looking pretty good. And we're going to put the number right here. I'm just going to put the number, and the number is 55 for this student. And I'm just going to put the height at 2 inches, and that looks pretty good. And I'm going to bring that in, center it just right here. Again, I want some space in that, so I'm going to Edit Text Spacing and Curves right there again. Hold my Shift key down and get some space in there, and then just center that. Now I'm going to hit the Escape key to get out of that mode twice, clicking that, and I'm going to hold the Shift key down while I stretch it out a little bit, make those letters a little bit larger. And that might be maybe a little bit too much, so let me double click again and size that just a little bit smaller Size it right in the middle. Again, we don't have to be perfect on this. We're just playing around with this. Okay, one last thing we want to do, and in the example that you've got the composite model and the samples, you don't have the logo on the helmet. And without the logo on the helmet, face it, it's not going to look quite as good. So we're going to go in. I've already got the logo right here. It's a DXF format. Another one here that's in Eagles. But we're going to use the G right here. We're going to move that into position on the helmet. Now click on the helmet because you'll see there are the face guard right there. And if you get a little closer, there's a piece of the helmet's going to come out right there around the ears. So we brought that in, but I want to make sure that that's grouped. And we press the G key to group, the U key on the keyboard to ungroup. It's that simple. So I'm going to make it as a little bit too large. Back off just a little bit. Click on the helmet. That doesn't look too bad. So again, I'm click over here in the blank space, F to fit. Now I'm going to go over now to my toolpathing, and although we can on this particular model we can do a roughing toolpath. If you were in a hurry and didn't want to even do the roughing, if you do a start from the center here and work your way out, you're probably can get by with just doing the finishing toolpath. The reason why, if you're using, it's going to ask you some questions. Material setup, we're going to leave that like it is. Click OK. And right here we're going to see offset. That means it's going to start right here in the center. It's going to gradually move out. But as you click in here and edit, I've got everything at 3.8 inches per second, which will work on desktop max, for shopbots. And on step over, we went about 10% step over on this. So as it's going, it's only going to be on the majority of this. It's only going down, going over 10% of the diameter of that tip. So just for visually, we're just going to go ahead and use that. We're going to go conventional on that, and we're just going to calculate. And of course, it's going to take a little while to calculate that. As it does, next step is we're going to go ahead and we're going to do V carving, okay, on all those letters. Now we're going to do a preview in just a minute, and we're going to preview selected toolpath, and the areas that we're going to be putting the lettering, okay, are pretty level. Right here, this is not quite as much, but this is for sure is not. Well, if we knew the depth, then we can tell right there by hovering the cursor, we can see that it's down about 1/8 of an inch. Well, let's go over here, and I'm going to go to my V carving. We're going to go to the 2D view, and I'm going to click on Steinbach right here. And because of this is going to require going in those small lines, I'm going to go ahead and use a 60-degree V-bit, 1/2 inch. We're not going to give any flat depth and the start depth. Well, I hover this over here, and it's telling me again the Z is on the model right there is about 1/8 of an inch. So I go over here and I click, let's say start depth, let's say 0.1. Sorry to get there, 0.12, let's say, and I'm going to calculate, and then I'm going to preview selected toolpath. Well, that's not too bad. That's just a sort of a guess, but there's a much easier way to do that. Now let's go over to our G for Georgetown and go into our V-carve mode. And as we hover over this, we can look at the Z. It's about 0.2 at that location. So let's try 0.22 and calculate and preview selected toolpath. Well, that's not too good, is it? And let's zoom in a little bit. with our mouse, holding both keys on the mouse, we can move it back and forth. Here it's not going to be a problem. Here, when there's anything rounded like there, it will not follow the shape of the contour. So, what do? Let's go back into this particular toolpath, and we're going to go right to the bottom. It says Project Toolpath onto 3D Model. And that could be a different types of toolpath. It could be, besides V-carving, it could be a pocketing toolpath. It could be a engraving toolpaths of different types. We'll calculate right there. It could be a profile toolpath. But anything it does, it will project it onto that. So we don't have to worry about the depth of this, but it'll automatically do that. So let's go back over here. Go V-carve again, and we're going to click Eagles. And the reason I'm doing this individually is because if some of those, for example, at 55, that goes too deep, I might have to manipulate that toolpath. So I'm going to just calculate. Preview selected toolpath right there. And what has happened here? Over here, let me double click right there. I forgot to click my projected toolpath. Now we can calculate again, and preview selected toolpath. Perfect. And now you can notice here we could adjust that, we can move that, and if you notice right here, I'm going to have to rotate it a little bit. You can see so it fits in with that jersey. But let's get that. Click over here first. Let's get the 55 in there first. And if I remember, like I did not do last time, click on the projected toolpath on the 3D model, and it will tell you if you don't select the vector. So I'm going to click on that vector, calculate preview selected model. That's looking good there. And I'm going to go to my first one, Steinbach, because that was just a guess the first time. On preview selected, oops, that's going a little bit too deep. Why is that? Because I put a start depth of 0.12. We don't want a start depth. It will automatically find that depth. And let's go to our G again. There's our G. Double click on that, and we're going to project that toolpath onto a 3D model. Calculate that. And now we need to reset the blackboard. Reset the preview. Now we're going to preview all toolpaths, and let's see what happens. Let's see how that looks. Now the only thing we probably would need to do is we need to rotate the letters on that top. And let's go to double click this because I did not take off the start depth on that, and you can see what the problem is there. So as long as I have the project toolpath, it's going to follow the curve of that helmet. While I'm at it, I'm going to go to the Eagles, and notice I want to rotate it just slightly. So I'm going to go in here and just slightly rotate that down. Okay, and I'm close that, and I want to go to that one right there. Here, and there's my Eagles. I'm going to double click on that, calculate, reset my preview, and then preview all toolpaths. See if that helped. Now I'm not going to spend a lot of time trying to get that just perfect, but you can get that pretty well aligned so that as you do 1 or you do 20, once you've got the correct alignment, then it's just a matter of changing the name right here and the number. And that looks pretty good right there. Eagles, let's look how that looks right here. Over right here. And on the cutting board, that was going to look pretty nice. Back up to here. And one way to test to make sure, look right here, we can see that there's none of that. Those objects are higher than the base right here. So I'm going to go back here, take a look at that. That looks pretty good. Straight up there. And now you have a customized cutting board with your son's name, his number, team, and the logo, and you're ready to go with that. Now it's just a matter of saving. One last thing, and then you can start playing with yourself once you got some of these 3D clip art. If I want to go in here and go back into my preview mode, and let's say right there is 55, and I want this. I want to go over here, and the team colors on this one are blue, if I remember right, for this school right there. Okay, and normally you would not be painting a cutting board, but for illustrations sometimes it's good to have that team color there. Here we're going to go here. I don't want to do a total global fill color because it'll fill all this space in right here, and it'll not show the lettering. And then my last one right here, student's name. I'm going to go here with another click on that. I'm going to click here, get that color, and click this twice, take that off. But you can see you have a very nice looking plaque, or better yet, a cutting board that Mama Bear is going to want to have in the kitchen. Every time she's going to look at that, she's going to be thinking of her son. So here we have it. This is a great money maker for you schools that are trying to raise some funds, because you're going to have a never-ending supply of parents that are going to want these. And I hope you make good use of this clip art. Thank you.